Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, we already had one episode of the Second City Summit. GCW teaming with Black Label Pro for Cup stuff. That review is already up. This is from Cardiff, Wales. This is the WWE Clash at the Castle. I know it started, it's noon Central Time today. Started a little bit late, had some stuff going on, and been kind of back and forth between that and one of the NASCAR races. So we finally got that finished up. So we're going to go ahead and run down the card and review what we saw in Wales. This was kind of that big, first time in 30 years, pay-per-view in Wales in Europe. We found out NXT UK is done. NXT Europe is coming in 2023. This past Thursday on Peacock was the last episode of NXT UK. This was kind of the last big thing over in UK for WWE until we get NXT Europe. You know, if you are a British wrestling fan, British Strong Style is still alive and well. Progress Wrestling, Rev Pro, there's about a dozen or so independent companies over there. I love British wrestling. OTT, WXW. WXW is actually available on Peacock. But yeah, so definitely British wrestling will stay strong until NXT Europe shows up next year. But this is kind of the last hurrah in Wales. So we had some good matches. We've had some okay matches. Good show. We had a turn that we thought was coming for a long time that finally came. We had an attempted cash in that got knocked out. But yeah, so we started out with a pre-show match, which was unannounced. Found out, literally turned Peacock on 20 minutes before the show starts, and boom, there's a fucking match on. Madcap Moss teaming up with Street Profits versus Austin Theory. Theory got his first name back. I love it. Teaming up with the Alpha Academy. Good little starting match. Good pre-show style match. There's a couple big spots where Street Profits, Montez Ford did a couple dive off the top. Angelo Dawkins, he's getting better match by match in the ring, but I think it's more Montez Ford, Dawkins. But yeah, Madcap Moss and the Street Profits getting the victory there. I give it three star. What gets me is we do that 6-man tag to start at the pre-show. Then to start the show, we have a 6-woman tag. So we had Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka teaming up versus Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. This match, I mean, it was a good match, don't get me wrong. Each woman went out and did what she normally does in the relevant single matches, their kind of spots. I don't really see a point in having your Raw Women's Champion not in the championship match. It's kind of a waste to me. When you have network specials or premium live events, we're calling them, we're not pay-per-views no more for WWE. I don't care, it's still pay-per-view. When you have a pay-per-view, to me, you put your best matches on the pay-per-view. This is a Raw or a SmackDown match. This is not a pay-per-view. This is not a premium live event match. It was still good, don't get me wrong. You know, the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair got to shine her power, her agility, and everything. Because she is the EST of WWE. The one biggest thing about this is Bayley did get the pin on Bianca Belair. Having your Raw Women's Champion eat the pin, I thought was kind of okay. We know Bayley's getting the title match at some point in time, but to have her eat the pin here was didn't make a lot of sense to me. But yeah, so Damage Control getting the victory there. I gave it 3 1/4. Next up, we had the WWE IC title on the line. We had champion Gunther versus Sheamus. We had the reappearance of Imperium with Giovanni Vinci, Ludwig Kaiser, and Gunther. Sheamus came out with the Brawling Brutes. Butch needs to get his name back. It's Pete Dunne. He's Pete Dunne. And Rich Holland. So kind of 3-on-3. What was really cool is just like we did a couple weeks ago in SmackDown. You had Gunther and Sheamus in the ring face to face, and then you had Vinci, Kaiser brawling with Butch and Rich Holland, and they're just brawling over the ring on the outside, and we just champ face to face. And then all of a sudden, bell rings, you get a fight. This was a chop fest. This was just, you know, if strikes and kicks are your thing in wrestling, which I do enjoy, holy hell, this was your match. Both guys had, I mean, even Gunther's chest was red, not like Sheamus. Oh my god, Sheamus was freaking bleeding. He got chopped so hard. There was one point where, Gunther kicked him, and it's like, Corey Graves is like, Gunther kicked Sheamus, and my tooth fell out. Kicked him so hard. I love the crowd starts chanting Walter, and Michael Cole acknowledged it. He's like, yeah, his old persona or his old self or something, his old, so I was like, at least I acknowledged it. It was kind of cool. But yeah, this was just imagine punches and kicks and chops, and just, it hurt watching it. But again, yeah, Sheamus just whole chest was black, red. I give it 4.5. It was fucking awesome, I thought. Gunther getting the victory, retaining the IC title. Next up, we had the SmackDown Women's title on the line. We had champion Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler. I want to believe Liv Morgan is champion. I really do. Her to beat Ronda Rousey twice, and her to do what she's done with Shayna Baszler, especially in this match. It was just like, come on. Shayna's going to rip her arm off. But Shayna really didn't get the opportunity to. I mean, it was a pretty decent match. But it was like one of those things where I wanted more from it. I actually wanted Shayna to win. I was hoping Shayna would win, especially when they talked about during the video package about what Ronda said to Shayna, tells Shayna when they walk by each other, you used to be a killer. And it's like, okay, let's Ronda and Shayna, come on. But Liv Morgan getting the victory here, I give it 3 stars. It was just like, wasn't believable. It wasn't one of those things where like, what? So, but next up we had the Edge, Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest, Finn Balor, the Judgment Day, Edge versus the Judgment Day. You could see when this whole lead up to this, where Rey picked Edge as his partner over Dominik. Dominik had an issue with it. Rey was like, no, Dominik, it's not because you're young, it's because I've gone through this with Edge, and Edge created it. It was like, no big deal. And then you had this match, you have Rhea Ripley constantly attacking Dominik Mysterio. WWE typically doesn't do intergender matches like that, so it's not making any sense because there's no females with the Mysterios or with Edge. So it's kind of like she's toying with him. She can do all this to him, but he can't do anything back to her. It's like, whatever. I mean, the match was okay. Edge ended up getting the spear and getting the pinfall. I give it 3.5. Then the aftermath, we had Dominik cold toward Edge, and then blowed him and kicked him. Ray's like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then he clotheslines his dad. We all saw that coming a mile away. You could have backed the truck into that. You saw it coming so much. And you got Judgment Day over laugh. And if we all go back about a month and a half, we had Judgment Day telling Dominik, you need to not be with your dad, be with us. So I don't know if Dominik is going to eventually join Judgment Day or what's going to happen with that. But that'll be definitely see a Raw moment going forward there. Dominik turning on his dad and on Edge. Edge and Rey Mysterio getting the victory right before that. Next up, we had the sub-main match. We had Riddle versus Seth Rollins. This was a hell of a banger. You knew the fact there's personal animosity with these two. It was just, you knew it was going to be a fight, and it was a true fight. Seth Rollins ended up getting the victory with a curb stomp off the top rope, which was freaking sick as hell. These two went after one another. I mean, of course, Rollins comes out dressed like a peacock, an orange peacock. It's like, what the hell are you wearing? But yeah, it was a great match, though. I give it 4.25. It was really good. Seth Rollins getting the victory, like I said, with that curb stomp off the top rope. And then our main event, we had WWE Undisputed Universal Championship on the line. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Roman, 2-year-long Universal Champion. Match was just a fight. These two have been fighting for a long time, but here we had just a true fight with Roman Reigns and Drew. The crowd behind Drew completely. We had A-Town music hit. Okay, Theory comes out. He's going to cash in. He's going just like Rollins at WrestleMania 33. He goes over there to the ring bell and hands the briefcase to this referee. He goes, I'm going to cash in. And about that time, you get a right hook from Tyson Fury and dropped Theory like a bag of rocks. It's like, holy shit. It's like, okay, why is Tyson Fury getting involved in this? It makes no sense. And I know he's from the area, but like whatever. Then we had Roman go back in the ring, and him and Drew back and forth. Drew hit a Claymore kick, and then the referee gets pulled out. And we have a new member of the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, getting called up from NXT. The Usos' brother. And they even pointed that, even Cole was like, yeah, he's the Usos' brother, and he was the mean one of the bunch. Why isn't his last name Uso? Solo Uso. There you go. We'll solve it that way. But yeah, Roman Reigns retaining his title after all that went down. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso were not there. Sami Zayn wasn't there. Sami was still supposedly hurt. I guess Jey and Jimmy, because their DUIs, can't travel outside the United States. So yeah, we did have them, but we got a new member of the Bloodline. Roman Reigns still your WWE Universal Undisputed Champion. 4-star match on that one. Definitely a good show. One of the better WWE shows. I know you can see match quality wise since Tripp has taken over creative. I think it's been a little bit better, but I don't know if it's still where it needs to be at yet. We still have some funky things going on sometimes. But other than that, WWE Clash at the Castle review is up. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Make sure you check out the GCW stuff this weekend, and then All Out tomorrow night, and Worlds Collide tomorrow as well. Thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports content.